Hey everyone, welcome to my first casual stream. So today I have this very simple project where we will be adding a form validation with using JavaScript. So let me first just welcome everyone. Hey, welcome Mr. PhD to the stream. Hey Parth, welcome to the stream. That's to say hello everyone. Okay, so here is a basic idea. So I had this idea to create this simple project which has a very basic the main idea behind this website is to using JavaScript. So that's why I created very simple design, and it doesn't like it. I tried to include each type of different inputs in the forms, and this might help us to different kind of form validation. So I will drop down a link of this file so that you can access it as well. Let me know guys if you have any question. Hey Smith, welcome to the stream. So yeah, this is all what we are going to work on this stream. I think it will be very small one. I guess we might be doing around an hour, I guess. Okay. Let's create a directory. C001. So I'm using mechanical keyboard today, so let me know if it makes too much noise in the stream. I will change it. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong folder. Finally. yeah, the only reason I bought this keyboard was this noise. I really like it, especially when doing programming or stuff. It's really satisfying. Let's create an index file. So I didn't want it to write HTML or I didn't want to focus on HTML or CSS in this stream. So that's why I tried to write, I have already written the CSS for this project, and let me just grab that very quickly. And I haven't I removed the HTML so that we can write it on the stream. So let's just do that. So here is the text for index HTML, and there is also another file called thank you. So we will be showing this file once we submit the form. So let's do that. Let me just copy paste the file first, and then I will then I will go through these files. And here is the styles. So the index file basically importing fonts from Google Fonts, and we are just linking the styles to here. Then it has header part, and the body part is all the form. Oh, I thought I removed this form, but yeah, we have it. So we won't be writing the form. I will go through uh, each of the form fields, and at the end we just have very simple uh, what we call a very simple footer. I will need to change this. It was an um, it was an old repo I was working with. Okay, so let's go to the code side by side with the design. So here is the header part, which include, let me just a sec. Okay, so here is the header part, which includes the title and description. And yeah, it was like the idea of this project came from Free Code Camp course, and I think they have this project in responsive website course, I guess. I'm not too sure, but yeah, that's where I got this idea. And then we have a form. So basically I added all this, like I added a label and form field inside a group so that we can easily style them. And the first name and last name and emails, first name and last name are just simple text input. Email is the email input, and the gender one is a basic radio buttons, as you can see here. And I gave each input an unique ID so that we can easily grab the form field inside a JavaScript file. And then we have a select group for profession, and then we have form group for comment and then we have text area for our comments and suggestion box, and then we have a submit button. So this is the submit button that will trigger validation. So my idea is whenever we will submit the form, we will show a validation something like this. If the field has valid value, then it will have a green border, otherwise it will have red value, red border. So this way user will know which field they have the wrong values. And the thank you page is basically just a very simple h1 tag saying thank you, and we have a button called go back. So we'll also need to work on this one so that it actually go back to the go back to the last page inside the browser. And I have very simple styles. I will upload all the code in the GitHub, so, and I will add the link in the description after this stream ends, and that's where you can find all the styles for this project. I am not sure if I wrote it. Yeah, I haven't wrote code for validated state, so that's what we'll be doing in this stream. So let's just start working on this. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will try to answer them. We'll just import the file here. It's not, it's script. So the first thing we need to do is we need to trigger a function whenever submit button, whenever user submits the form. So let's just grab the form from the HTML first. I think, yeah. So we will use query select for this one. It's document query select, and we will select the form. And whenever form submit, we will just, for now we will just console. Okay, I won't use this syntax because we aren't using any Babel in this project, so we are not compromising, we are not compressing the code to low level JavaScript, so we'll just use very simple very basic vanilla JavaScript syntax for this one, and we will just console log that form submitted. I think there is a extension called live server that I'm using. Yeah, it's this one, which lets you open your HTML files in a local server, which refreshes automatically whenever you make any changes. So I will use that one. We'll just grab that, and here it is. As you can see, it's very similar to the design. And I also made it a bit responsive. It's not great, but yeah, it's workable. Yeah, okay. So let's open the console. And if we press submit, it says the form submitted. It refreshed the page because it's the default behavior of the form that it is expecting to submit, or it is expecting to submit form. So basically you can see on the top that it is redirecting to this URL, which includes the fields values. Okay, so let's just override that very quickly. We'll get the event object from function. And now it shouldn't refresh it. Now it should not refresh the page. So let's go back to the index file. Yeah, it works now. Okay. So let's just start working from the first name field. So we will be allowing any special characters in the first name. I don't think so we need any kind of other validation other than that the field is not empty. That's all we need for this input. Let me know if you have any other idea for validating the first name. Okay, so for that we will just need to grab that input from a document. Query selector, and I think I named it as first name. I gave ID as first name. Yep, that's the ID. We will also create a variable which will keep track of that if the form is in the valid state or not. So at first it will be null, and this is where we will start. We will validate the fields. Okay, so let us first grab the first name input. Let me just change this variable. Okay, so we can just grab first name from that field to dot value, and we can see that if first name dot string, if this string is empty, then we will just say that is valid is false. And form submitted, and we will also add the is valid value. So let us try that. It should be false, but if we add any values, and we submit it, it should be true. Otherwise, yep, it works now. Okay, so we will need to do for last name as well. But I will change it a bit here. Basically, let's assume that it's valid at first. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that would be a very easy solution. I think I was thinking a bit differently, but yeah, that will work. So yeah, if we are just changing the is valid value if whenever if the value is invalid. So yeah, that's what we are going to do. It's false, it's false, now it's true. Wait, oh yeah, at this point we will need to reset the is valid value. Oh no, I should be do it at here, I guess. So whenever this function triggered, we will just reset it values to true. That's false, and that should true. Okay, if I just change it, it will be false again. Yep. So that works now. Now we have it's the email field, and it should be, let me just, there was a different way. Check if email input it should be is valid. I want to grab that if we can find a way to get that if the email field has valid email inside it. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. I just think we can do this inside. Let me just change it first. That's the ID we are using. We have access to an email input, and let's just log that with dot I think it's validity, I guess. What does it return? It returns that valid is true. Oh yeah, I will also need to do add a required field in this one. In all of these fields, value missing is true, valid is false. So if I enter some valid input, valid email inside this, yeah, I have seen pattern method, like pattern property a lot, like not a lot, but yeah, I have seen it in very different solutions on different websites, but I never used it basically. I'm not sure why, but I never used it. And let's just again check the validity, and it does return that as valid as true. And if it has any empty value, it should return false. Yeah, it is false. Let's try some invalid input. Invalid. I just try that. It does say that this is valid value. Yeah, I think I will change it a bit. Maybe this will make it invalid. Yeah, it does make it false. So yeah, we don't really need to make any other code other than we don't need to manually check this value other than just checking that dot validity dot value is true or false. And yeah, that's all we need for email field. That was very easy solution for. I never knew that this dot, like, I did see this validity property in several like in Stack Overflow somewhere, but I never used it before, and it's really useful. Range overflow, bad input, custom error, too long, too short, type mismatch, valid, value missing. That's nice. So what we can do is, if validity dot value is false, okay, so let's try to do that. First of all, it won't let us to submit the form because fields are required. So okay, that's nice. That is also cool. Form submitted is false. And why would be that? I'm not sure why. Because email has a valid input. Oh yeah, dot valid. Thanks. Okay, so first, it is true. Yeah, so yeah, it really worked. We almost completed the half of the form, so that's nice. The pattern property might be using this, yes or no? I guess so. Yeah, I think it is using this dot validity for validating different for validating input with your pattern, I guess. Again, I'm not sure how does this pattern property works. At first, I used to do things were manually, but later, like when I dived into HTML a bit deep, and I realized that it does have like it nowadays it has solution for pretty much all the common problems, and we don't really need to write all from scratch. So that's really nice. So let me just do this. If we do a space last name input, yeah, it doesn't detect that if it has a space inside that. We can add a pattern inside, like yeah, true. I think yeah. So if we are adding any pattern, then we can just use pattern mismatch to check if it matches with the pattern. Yeah, right. If I want to add regex limit to email address, or you can just use pattern parameter. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so let's now go with this radio buttons. So let me just find one thing. Thought. There was a way to get all the input from yeah, I was right. So I think this will make our code much cleaner. So the form dot elements has all the elements inside the form, male, gender, female, gender, yeah. So that will be much. So basically we won't need to make a like query selector to the whole document. We can just do that form dot elements dot first name. There was a bit different. There was also a different way to validate the whole radio button group. Let me just find that. I think what we will need to do is we will just loop through the, or we can loop through all the radio buttons inputs, or we can just write something like this. If form.elements dot mail, what did I give an ID to it? It's male gender. And the same thing for female. And it will be other gender. If none of them are checked, then it means that they haven't selected any value inside inside this radio group. Then we can just do that the is valid is false. I will refactor a code up once we complete all the validation. I really don't like that repeating the code. We will create another function that will return true or false. That will return true if the whole form is valid, otherwise it will return false. So we'll do it, but just let me just first complete this validation. Now we have this select input which have different values, and we need to user need to select any one value inside from this. It is also required. We can, I think we can just basically say that this value is required, and okay, it's false. If I select male, it should be false. I think, yeah, it's disabled, so that's why the required will not work in this one, in this case. I can give a value is that I think just a 0, or and I will give it a bit proper name so that we can easily validate it. So if form.elements dot profession, I think that's what I gave ID to this select input. Yep, it's profession. Dot value is equal to disabled, then is valid is false. It's male, that's false. But if I choose any other option than first one, then it should be true. Yep, it works now. So that's also been taken care of. So let's go with the comments. Comments is not required. Not every user will need to enter any suggestion or comment, so we can just leave it as we don't really need any validation for this function, this input, so we can skip that one. Give it a name with like sorry, Mr. PhD, what you are saying, give it a name with like because I'm getting, if you can see, I am getting squares. So I am missing anything, or yeah, that's what I did. It's the all of those radio button has the same name value, so I can't really select two at a time. That's what you are talking about, right? Okay, yeah, that's fine. So the only thing left at this point is refactoring the code a bit and adding a error class or valid class to the inputs. So that's what we will do now. Let's just first create a function. Should be function validation. Okay, so if first name input dot value dot trim, so basically if first input does not have any value, then class list dot add L, and we will also set the result as false, else we will remove error class and we will add success class. We will also need we are also missing one thing here, that we will also need to remove success class if it already exists. So let's see if that works. It should have added. Wait a minute, why it didn't add the class? We just make sure that it's called class list. Yep, class list dot add That's what I did here. It should have added the error class to the first name input. Oh, we are not calling this function. Validate inputs. Okay, it should work now. So if we had just a empty, if we left the first name input as empty, it should have added the error class. Yep. Okay. I see what's going on. So basically, if any other field has invalid value, our function never gets called because form is invalid. True. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So at first, user will like, and a user will get to know that he hasn't entered any value in the last name. Then he will enter his last name in the field, and when he try to submit the function, we will error that this thing is required. Yeah, true. Yeah, that would be a better choice. Valid invalid. Thanks for that. Just change it and change the error to invalid. And I just add styles for that. So if input has class of invalid, let me just grab the styles from this function. This design, it has this color for border. Two pixel, solid. Yep, it does add the error class. I haven't designed this, but I think it would be better if we add a simple error message at the bottom saying that this field is required. It will be a better user experience. And I think I also need to add asterisks to those fields which are required. It makes sense. So let us do that. Like this. That looks perfect. And the profession is also required. And after each of this input, I will add a basic paragraph tag saying error message. What will be a better choice? Is there a way to append, not child, but for space? Let me just try that. Yeah, we can just write it like this as well. The browser, nowadays the browser can easily understand differences between spaces and blank space or white space. That's nice. Okay. Yeah, it's basically, I think it's a what does it called? I can't remember the word for that. It's a non-breaking space. Okay. Two words separated by non-breaking will stick together. This is handy when breaking the words might be disruptive. Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice. entity, but I don't think so. We need it in this case, so that's fine. But yeah, it's good to know. I never knew that. I thought it was just a blank space like the usual space. I never knew that knew that it was a non-breaking space. So it was good to know. First name. What does append? Insert a set of node objects or DOM string after the last child of parent node. Okay, so we are grabbing the parent node and we are inserting just before. So that was insert before. We don't really need to insert before, we just need insert after, I guess. So what we can do at this point is first name input dot parent node dot insert document dot create element. It will be a p tag. Error message dot id is first name error message, and the error message dot inner text is just say that first name is required. Okay, and then we can just insert it to the HTML. Error message. Yes, we can definitely do that, but when we will need to remove that error message, I think that at that time we will be having issues with the way we are, like with the way you suggested by changing HTML. So we also, like, if we go with this way, we will also need to give an ID to the span. So what I'm planning to do is, at this point we will do something like this. Otherwise, document dot not the document, it's like first name parent node dot remove child, and we can just wait a minute, or we can just do something like this, I guess. Document dot query selector error message, and we just remove it. First name of insert is not a function. Parent element, okay. Dot insert. Oh yeah, I think append will work. Yeah, it should be parent element and append. Yeah, append child will be, I think, a better choice here. Otherwise, we'll just remove it. Yep, the first name is required. It is working now. I think we need to change the styles a bit. So right now I have given margin bottom to the form inputs. Yep, 16 pixel. I will just move this to the dot form group. So we don't get that margin issue with the design. We will need to change. We will also need to add a class to the error message. Or we can just write styles like this. Form and the p tag will have font weight of bold and margin top 0, or maybe just 6 pixels. True, it won't have any margin padding, but like I will still need to add some kind of styling so that it shows up at the bottom of the input. And we'll also change the color. Yeah, this looks much better. And if user enters the right value, it should remove that. That's working. So this is the code that will be rewriting a lot, so we can write a function for that. As an input, we will grab an object, or we can just say that name and error message. So we are creating an element, we are giving an ID, so we can do something like we can use template strings, and in the inner text will be the message that comes with the argument as a function. We also need to pass the node. Yeah, I think it will also it will also not allowed any white spaces as well as line breaks and enters, right? If I can recall properly from the last stream. Yep. It's still saying that it's an invalid value. It does have an issue that if there is an empty space before or after, it won't allow it. Yeah, it also allowed number. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we can just do that and it will work. Sure. That's a better choice. And I just realized that we are appending an error messages and we don't want to do that. So we can do it something like this. So we'll just check if the error message already exists, then we won't create any new node. But do we need to do that? Yeah, we don't need to do that because there will be a reset function which will remove the valid or invalid classes from all the inputs, as well as it will remove all the error messages. So we can just avoid that for now. And yeah, we can do like we can remove it after 3 seconds, but what if user misses to see that after in those 3 seconds, right? So that's what I was thinking. So maybe you are putting right value for the first name and it took 3 seconds and it will like and then the message will go away for the last name, right? So that's the reason I am going with this way. Okay, let me also just change it a bit. I don't want to like I want to pass an object instead of 3 different arguments. So what we can do is basically create error message and you can just pass that name is first name. Oh, I mean, like if you have entered wrong values in first name as well as in the last name, right? So you are putting the right value on the first name and the error goes out to the last name because it's already 3 seconds. So and you don't know what was the error and why it was like it was showing error, right? So that's the reason. It's very simple application. I know that I am being bit very choosy here, but I am thinking it like if this application in the real world we can't do that, right? So that's the reason. So let's try that if this create error message function works. It does work and it should remove the error message as well as that. So yeah, that works. and we'll just pass the name to this function, and basically it will do the exactly same thing as this thing. Except we will just change it to the template string. Okay, let us skip the break for now. Okay, enter the right values, it goes away. That works perfectly as expected. I think we can also move this code inside this create error message as well, because it's also a repetitive code. Oh, yeah, Mr. PhD gave the same idea about that. Yeah, this way it's the code is a bit more clear. Creating error message. We do the same with this thing. Also need to pass the node. Okay, so that's all we need in this valid inputs for the first name input. Let's do the same for last name. Last name is required. So if the email is invalid, the comments is too dark, I think, especially the dark yellow or something. Yeah, I know that. I will need to change the theme settings manually, I guess. I will never choose the light theme. I will need to install another one. I will do the I will try to find that fine updating the comments color in the future. Okay, so validating the email input. Okay, so that's should work. Is required slash invalid. Yep, I just need to check that. I just need to add a required message here, and the email input remove error message. So that's nice. So we can remove all this code. Until here. Let's validate the gender. Then the result is false and we are creating error message. The name should be gender. For this scenario, we will need to grab a radio group. Okay, let's just do that. Change it to ID. We also need to change the styles. That it's not a class, it's an ID. It's radio group. Oh yeah, we can I can do that. Come on, I totally forgot that. Thanks for the tip. So we can just do the male gender dot parent element. We just say that gender is required. So let's see how we will need to modify the error styles a bit for this radio button error message, because I am using flex, I think, for this one to show them side by side. Oh, I shouldn't. Okay, let's select the email and profession. And we are getting error message. Class list of undefined. Oh, it should be form elements, male gender. Send the email, profession. Cannot read class list. Why would be that? Oh, I think it won't work because it's the label. We will still need to go with the radio group ID because the input is nested inside the label, so that's why. That will be a bit confusing using the two parent elements, so I think this will be a bit more clear way to use it. A class list of undefined, and why would be that? Let's try that here. So inside the create error message function, sorry for the noise. Okay, so inside the function, the node, we are adding the class list, and okay, I see. I think it is happening because it is taking bit. It is taking time to find that element on the page. So let's try if we go with this way. Let's radio group. So radio button group. App line 22. Oh, I'm not passing the node inside this remove error message. It should be. Read property remove of null is 25. Yeah, I also need to make sure that if we are only removing it if it exists. So let's add that. And if error message element exists, then we will just remove it. Cannot read property class list of undefined. It should be email input here. Yeah, it works now. Gender is required. And I think I will need to remove margin from labels. read and label margin bottom 0. It looks much better now, and if I submit it, it should remove it. Form submitted. Oh, I haven't added the else case here. Otherwise, we will just remove the error message for gender. Oh. Okay, if it's valid, then it works. Yeah. So the only thing we now left is the select input. Then we will set the result as false. We'll create an error message for profession. Profession is required, and form dot mains dot profession. You can decouple the create and remove error message. And give it boolean if it's valid or not. As they are both using the same node. Oh, I see what you're saying. So we can create a toggle error message function. Then we can pass this object or any an object to that function, and if it's valid, then if it's valid, then we will call this function. Otherwise, we will call this one, right? So we can create a function or something like this, which will get an object of options. I'm not sure if I can decouple values if it does not exist. Name, message, and node. We will also expect is valid on that. Are you seeing something like this? Just take a name, message, node, valid. Yeah. And if is valid, then we just call remove error message function. Let's just go with invalid first. create error message, then we can just pass name, message, and node. Otherwise we can just pass name and node, and we will just return it at this point. I just move this code here. I think we don't really need to keep two separate functions. That should be right. And then we can just do toggle error message, first name. I should also change message from message to error message, and then we can, in the valid inputs, then we can write something like the same thing here, but it should be error message. The node is the first name input, and we can directly pass this value to is valid. We don't need this exclamation mark anymore. Message is not defined. Yep, I need to change that. It shouldn't be message, it should be error message. Otherwise we'll just remove it. Yep. Select mail, and yep, it is working now. If I enter valid value, it works. Remove error message is not defined. Oh yeah, it's for other validations. Next, the last name. Just let me just capitalize it this letter, and that's all for the last name. Yeah, it's very clear. Let's just do the same for email input as well. And the validation rule for this input is this, so let's change that. Quick stretch. Thanks for the tip, Mr. Pager. This thing made my code very clear. Thanks for that. Oh, Yeah, thanks. We don't need that. Okay. Just remove the exclamation marks. So that's been taken care of for general as well. Yeah, I've been using Control D for that. Sometime I just forgot that. I haven't been using VS Code, like as I mentioned in the first stream of Shopping Manager, I guess, that I stopped coding for like 2 or 3 months, and I'm still not at my best at programming because of that reason. It's not false, it's profession. Then we can just change it that if it's not disabled, if the value is not disabled, then it means that the input is valid. That's the email. Gender is okay. Then profession is required, but what if I add the center space here? That field is required. That works. So I think that's all for this website, I guess. We don't need anything else. It's validating all the inputs. So if the first name is invalid, then it is giving us error. If the last name is invalid, it is giving us error. Let's refresh the page. And the gender, if we don't select gender, it does give an error. That's nice. The only thing we need to do at this point is I think we will, or we can just say that, oh yeah, we already have this variable which we can toggle in this toggle error message function. This value is false, otherwise is valid is true. I think I should change this variable is form valid to avoid the confusion with this variable. So that's what we'll do. Okay. So if the form is valid, then we will redirect to thank you page. Otherwise we won't do anything else. We'll just keep the page as it is. We'll also need to create a reset function. So let's create that very quickly. So it will set the form valid value as true. Oh yeah. In the toggle error message, I shouldn't set it as true. Yeah, thanks for the tip. Otherwise, it will, if the first input is invalid and the last value is last name is valid. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, true. Thanks for that tip. So if we are resetting the form, then we will set that is form valid variable as true. We will also need to remove all the error messages. So we can do something like name first name and node is and is valid value is it won't work. Because if we will use this function, it will add a green border around the input, so we will need to find a bit different way for this one. Or we can add another variable called reset, and then we can do is reset, then we will pass valid, otherwise sorry, it's is reset, then we will just pass an empty string, otherwise we'll pass valid as valid class name to this function. And then we can use the same function for everything else. That name is first name, that is true. We can use query selector, or then we can just loop through them. So we will need two loops. The first one will remove error messages, and but do we need a reset function? Because if we will remove error messages, so the plan is we will be calling reset function here, which means whenever we'll submit value it will reset this. Nah, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't think so. We really need a reset form function for this project. I don't even have any reset button in this design, so yeah, I guess we can just avoid it because we are never using the whole reset function in our whole workflow for this website. So I think we can just avoid that. We just need this one line that we are resetting the is form valid value. I'm not sure why I was thinking. So yeah, so basically what I was thinking that I will call a reset function at this point, and this reset function will remove all the error messages, as well as it will remove valid or invalid classes from all the inputs. But that's not what we really want. So if I put the wrong values and I submit it, I do need so the next time okay. So what I am thinking is, so when I re-enter the values and I said submit again, our toggle function is already doing work of reset, so we don't really need to change we don't really need to remove valid or invalid classes by manual. That's what I was thinking. Did that clear up by any chance? I was confused at this until this moment as well. I'm not sure what I was doing. We don't need this reset. It's does that even works? Yep, I was right. So if we enter all the correct values in the form and we submit it, it will redirect us to the thank you form. Otherwise I didn't save the file. Okay, mail, other, submit. It works. The only thing now left is to make this go back function, make that button working. So we can just do it inside the HTML. Oh yeah, that's true. I always used to like I like to add go back buttons on my error messages, error pages in my other view projects, and in those projects I need to do a like I need to make this back function dynamic. So in those projects I used to use a JavaScript function for that, and for some reason I was thinking in the same direction for this one as well, where we only have one project, so we don't really need that. Thank you for the thank you for telling me that. Thank you for giving me that idea to just using the href simply and not writing any other script tag for this page. So I think that should work. That works. That's nice. So yeah, I think that's all for this project. Wait a minute. It shouldn't let its okay, just a sec. We are setting as the form as false. Last name is currently invalid. Then why did it redirect us to the different page? Ah, that was a stupid mistake, and it should work as expected now. So it won't. Okay, that's nice. It should be right email. Okay. The thing is, this green border is not working, and that's because I haven't wrote a class for that. So let's just write that very quickly. Okay. I just removed the input from the CSS code because this way it will also work with the profession. Nice. Not radio button. Oh, it's a radio group. So it removes the border from this whole group. So yeah, that's nice. So if I enter the right values, it will redirect us to the next page. Thank you for the submission. We just go back. Yep. So I think that's all for this stream. So yeah, this is the project for today. Very simple. We have a very simple HTML form, and we just added a validation to this simple website. I will deploy this project, and I will add the link to the live project, as well as I will add the link to the GitHub repo in the description just after this stream ends, and you can find the code there for reference. Thanks, Mr. PhD, for joining the stream throughout whole stream. See you soon. Have a good day. Take care. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I will be streaming this week. I won't assure you that I will definitely do that. I'm not sure because of my I might not be able to do it because of my job schedule, but I will try my best to do another stream this weekend on where we will be working on Shopping Manager. So thanks everyone for tuning in. See you soon.